Wow, Anthony, you killed it. Best buddy saved my life. That's no exaggeration. I'm Brendan. Before Best Buddies, school was a really lonely place for me. As a kid with a developmental disability, I was the kid who got laughed at and stared at, teased and bullied, and yes, called the R word. In a classroom full of kids, I often felt alone. At times, it was like there was an invisible barrier or border separating me from the others. Middle school almost did me in. But once I got to high school, I found Best Buddies. My first 2 years of high school were so much better. Because of Best Buddies, I had people to hang out with, and people who wanted to hang out with me. Everything changed for the better thanks to Best Buddies. Dr. Seuss once said, "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." That's the kind of people I found in Best Buddies. Unfortunately, our chapter president graduated after my sophomore year, and no one stepped up to take her place. Without a real leader, our chapter closed. High school without Best Buddies was awful. I was so stressed that I lost 25 pounds, and more than once contemplated not living. When I was a junior, my school went on an overnight trip to a chorus competition in Virginia. While we were there, we got to go to Busch Gardens. I remember walking all around the amusement park, seeing groups of kids from my chorus, and trying to catch up and join them. But the group would break up, kind of dissolve around me, and I'd find myself walking alone again. I look ahead and see them regroup without me. It almost seemed like that invisible border traveled around with me. That was high school without Best Buddies. I left after junior year to go to music school in Massachusetts, and there I found Best Buddies again. My buddy was a Mount Holyoke student named Alethea. A few years later, I moved back to Connecticut, and the first thing I did was call Best Buddies, and they were right there for me. I became an associate member with the Yale chapter, and after that was matched with my Citizens buddy Taylor. One of the best things about Best Buddies at this time in my life has been the opportunity to attend leadership conferences in the Ambassador Training Program. The 2012 Leadership Conference theme of Inclusion Revolution really resonated with me. Thanks to Best Buddies, I know the difference between inclusion and exclusion. Exclusion, walking up to a table in your high school cafeteria where other members of your high school band are sitting, and being told you have to go sit at a table corner away from everyone else. Inclusion, walking into the cafeteria at McNutt during LC and having so many people welcome you, you have to go from table to table to talk from home. Exclusion is sitting at home weekend after weekend because nobody you call on the phone calls you back. Inclusion, getting a phone call from your Citizens buddy inviting you to a concert at the House of Blues in Boston. This past summer, while flying out to Indiana to LC, I was taking pictures at the window. From the airplane looking down, I knew I was flying over different states, but I couldn't see any borders between them. It got me thinking about the LC theme of Buddies Without Borders. Best Buddies has helped me get beyond the borders of social exclusion. A French pilot, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, once wrote, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." That's what the Best Buddies mission of social inclusion promotes, seeing with the heart. When you look at people that way, that's when those invisible borders dissolve. Best Buddies has helped me develop the confidence to truly be myself. Thanks to Best Buddies, I'm a different and definitely happier person with enough confidence to speak to a group and to play music in front of thousands of people. Through Best Buddies, I've made lifelong friends that have become my family. Best Buddies saved my life through acceptance, friendship, and support. And I know there are so many others like me out there, literally saved by Best Buddies. I'd like to thank you all very much for being here, and for listening, and for supporting Best Buddies. And I'd like to thank Anthony Kennedy Shriver, who saw with his heart, back when he was in college, and created Best Buddies to eliminate social barriers for people with IDD. Through Best Buddies, we can all help get rid of the invisible borders that stand in the way of social inclusion, until all around the world, it's a Best Buddies nation with no borders.